friends, and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my face. This video is going to be a review on the film The Platform. It's on Netflix, obviously filming from the apocalypse, from the lockdown chronicles. I've been watching a lot of Netflix. I was watching The Platform. I would recommend, before I start this video, I would recommend you watch it in Spanish, because I watched it in Spanish, but I saw the trailer in English and it was shite. So watch it in Spanish with subtitles, don't be lazy. Let me just get into the video. You tell me what you think and all that and all that and all that. Let's get to it.
Every time I take a
record scratch. Before I get into my intro screen, thank you guys for 100 subscribers. I am so gassed. Like, I never even thought that my YouTube channel would even get 5 subscribers, so to get 100 subscribers is really amazing, and just thank you for the support, guys. Thank you for watching. I am like so pleased. Anyway, let's get to it.
Every time I take a draw, that's a mind out. Done it all time, play with since lights out.
So the plot of the film basically goes 2 people per floor. Initially they say there's 200 floors, but we learn to find out that there's less floors, more floors. The main premise of the film is that this platform kind of falls down, and it's basically got like food. It's supposed to have enough food for everybody to eat, and basically like it just falls down on every level right till it gets to the bottom level. The whole kind of plot of the film is that this guy, I forgot his name because it was in subtitles, so yeah, he volunteers to come into this place, which is why I feel like it was a bit confusing as to what this actually was. But he volunteered himself to come into this place in exchange for a diploma, like a university degree, I think. And he basically spends 6 months in this kind of prison rehabilitation center. And he's met with this old man, and basically you're allowed to bring one object, and the one object that this guy brings, the guy that's getting the diploma, he brings a book. The old man brings a knife called the Samurai 3000 or whatever it is, but you can literally bring anything you want, like just one item, and it could be anything you want. So people bring guns, knives, swords, like, you know, things that they're gonna need. And basically the old man's just explaining to the voluntary guy, let's just call him voluntary guy. He's explaining to him like, oh, you stay on a floor for a month, and then they put you to sleep, they gas you to sleep, and then you get put on another level, and you never know where you're gonna end up. Sometimes you might end up like on level 2, which will be brilliant because you're the first people to get food, but sometimes you end up on floor 200, and then it's like, you know, you're not getting food. And basically like they start off on level, I think it's 41 or 42 or something, so it's not bad, but it's not great. And they only get like a little bit of food, but the guy, like when the platform first comes, the guy's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to eat this, and then the other guy's like, this is disgusting. And then we basically see them gradually like become friends, and over the month like they get along well, you know, they eat well, they're just chilling, vibes in, they're reading this book, enjoying life. After this now, they get put to sleep, like it's the final day, and he's like, oh, you know, do you believe in God? And he's like, I don't know, but I believe in God today because I hope he puts us on a good floor. Right, when they wake up now, they end up on floor 202, and yeah, basically they're not getting food. So this guy starts like, he ties him up to the bed and says like, I'm gonna eat you alive if this goes to shit, basically. While this is all happening, like, I don't want to go too in depth into the whole story, watch the film innit, but basically that guy dies, and then he gets paired with another woman who was his administrator, who also came in here voluntarily, and she basically puts the idea in his head that, you know, there is enough food for everybody. I know there's enough food for everybody, but plot twist, there isn't. But she says, yeah, I know there's enough food for everybody, you know, we ask everybody their favourite meal, so if everybody ate enough to just survive, there would be enough. She starts telling the people below her, you know, save a plate for the people below you, to kind of like pay it forward kind of thing. Cool. He starts kind of saying, kind of joining this vibe, but then they get put, the next month they get put on a shittier floor. I can't remember what it is, and she kills herself. Oh no, yeah, and she has a dog. I can't really remember, but she kills herself in the end of the day. Yeah. They get put on a really low floor, and yeah, she kills herself because she can't hack it. So then, you know, he starts eating the raw flesh, I think. No, he doesn't. That month he decides he's not going to eat the raw flesh, and he's gonna, you know, work it out. But anyway, month to month he, you know, jumps to different places. Gets to his last month now. He meets this, he gets paired with this black guy, and he's like, I want to really do this woman's idea justice. So what I'm going to do is, I think he gets put on level 6, and what he does is he, obviously that's enough food. So what he does is he gets on the platform and basically rations, doesn't give food to anybody. One day he gets on this board, doesn't give food to anybody above level 51, and then from 51 he starts handing out rations for people to eat. What we soon realize is that there's more floors than 200. It's actually 333 floors. Yeah, and then basically the platform passes people who are dead, which a lot of people on the lower levels are dead. A running theme motif of this film is that there's this Asian woman, and she's like trying to look for this child, and everyone's like, oh, she's a crazy Asian woman looking for this child that doesn't exist because we're not allowed children in here. Anyway, they get to the 333rd floor and they see the child, and they're like, oh shit. And then basically, like, they were going on about like the message, they need to send a message to the top, to the higher levels. So they send the child as a message, basically. That's the basic plot. One thing that I really like about this film, it reminds me of Parasite, in the sense that foreign films like are very overtly political and aren't scared to say what is going on and scared to like make points, and I really love that about this film. So for example, when they were talking about the Asian lady, that they called her the Asian lady, do you know what I mean? Like, they didn't know who she was, you know. And like there was a point they made about the black man, and the black man helping his white savior, and it's just things that we were thinking they were saying, and I really like it because obviously like in Spain and some other Mediterranean countries there's a lot of like racial kind of issues there because of immigration and things like that. And I know that there's kind of like that conflict of like black and white, and you know, looking at black people as lesser and things like that. So I really liked how they touched on that point as well, like the ethnic minorities. I really loved how the top floors, they had a shot, really small shot, and I really loved it. And they had a point where the people at the top got the food and they were like, yeah, but they were basically kicking and like shoving the food and everything, and it was just like wasteful. And it's like, this is exactly the society we live in. We live in a society where the people at the top just waste things because they can. They have the money, they have the resources. It's nothing to them. They don't, you know. Whereas the people at the bottom are just eating each other alive, and it's like this whole rat race thing, as I said in my previous video. But like, we live in this rat race society, and we have to literally eat each other alive to be successful or to get to the top. And also, it talked about like resources. So basically the platform, in my eyes, was a symbol of how we have enough resources to feed everybody for everybody to exist comfortably. But like land, food, water, I mean everything. But there's a proportion, the 1% of the population, that own most of that and don't want to share it equally, because why would they? They're not going to get as much as everybody else. It's much easier to take from people than to donate to others. Yeah. I also like the idea of, as much as it is to do with like people at the top versus people at the bottom, it's also to do with what we do with our kind of 3 minutes of fame. You know, we currently live in this like clout society where like everybody's kind of looking for their next big break or the funniest video, or you know, the thing to get them to the top. And then once they're there, like, it's like what they do with that chance, what they do with that kind of thing. And it's like, when you get to the top, you forget where you've come from until you're faced with it. Like, that goes to show that like, you need to remember your roots, you need to remember where you come from, and you need to remember that even when you are successful, or you are in a place of stature, power, whatever, you also still have to think about where you come from. Think about your roots. Get back to your roots, you know what I mean? Word to the fist. Another point that I really liked was that the platform passed floors that had people who had died, and it really kind of made me think about, you know, how we like ignore the homeless, or we ignore people who are less important to us, and like as we get lower and lower into like poverty regions, like people just ignore it. They just don't think, and it's like all those dead bodies just remind me of people die, you know. And you know, we hear about stories of people freezing to death on the streets of London. We hear people dying in various countries around the world because of starvation and things like that, but they're just bodies. Like it just passes over our heads, and the idea of the platform like passing over those floors kind of created that metaphor in my head that like we just forget things, it just goes over our head kind of thing. One thing I didn't really get was the Asian girl thing. The point was that everyone was saying she's just going up and down this thing. They call her this like crazy Asian lady, like with no real reason to be doing what she's doing. And like they were like, oh, obviously she can't have kids in here, so why did they think that she's, you know, why is she going around killing people? But later on we find out that obviously she does have a kid, and the kid was on the 333rd floor. But what I don't understand is, I don't really get whether they were saying, is it the ignorance of like we don't know people's stories, we don't know people's struggles, or was it more on the basis where it's like we don't like to believe that other people are doing things for a certain reason. It's like we like to create our own narratives for people's stories, and like we ignore the fact that we ignore compassion, we ignore things like that. And also the fact that like the lady never actually made it to the 333rd floor because people took advantage of her. People saw her on the platform and would like try and attack her, try and kill her out of desperation, out of boredom, whatever the reason was. Towards the lower levels, people would just attack her for no reason, keep her for like months and shit.
Something just dinged in my head. It's like women are always fighting for the future generation, but no one ever gives us that kind of like, we never get our chance to actually get change done the way we want to get change. That's what just dinged in my head. That's what I thought, that could be symbolism for that. But
oh, she wants to create change in the system, and she never does.
She's fighting for something. Yeah, she's fighting for her future. So she was fighting for her child. She wasn't fighting for anything else but her child. Yeah, and the kind of symbolism that sometimes women are just fighting for the future generation, but they get
yanked away and attacked. And also like when the Asian woman is first introduced, she kind of pops up, and the guy, he's like, oh yeah, the old man that was talking about in the beginning, he's like, oh yeah, I know that one, she's whatever. And then the guy's like, oh, you know her, and then there's like really weird fantasies and like dreams he has of her, which I also think is interesting, but I'll get to that in a minute. So the old man's like, yeah, she's fighting for these kid that doesn't exist, blah 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 blah. This is my Spanish accent, by the way. Doesn't exist, blah 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 blah. And then he's like, she's not fighting for anything, like, yeah. And then so he's like, oh, I want to help her, like I want to help her. So then the guy's like, oh, you want to take her, yeah, let's have some fun, blah 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 blah. So it makes me think that like obviously the poor woman probably was like attacked by all these nasty men in this place. But what I'm gonna go back to is the fantasies and the dreams that this man was having with this woman. So he said that he wanted to help her, whatever, and then he started having dreams about having sex with her and like sleeping with her, and all his dreams were very much sexual. And it made me like think about like the whole Asian porn kind of thing, like how Asian women were like the center of porn and like that kind of thing. But also it made me think that he only like, what was the reasons he wanted to help her? Why was he so passionate about helping her? Was it because he wanted to fuck? Like, and then like the whole idea that men, they just love to do these things and love to be the heroes so that they can get poussoir. But you know, that wasn't her concern. Her main concern was for her to get food to her child. Also, another thing was, how the fuck did that child survive? Sorry guys, my camera was full. Overall, I really liked the shots that were, I love a good abstract shot, and this film had a lot of like abstract kind of interesting shots. I really liked the fact that it was like a grey scale kind of, it was very cement. But yeah, I would definitely recommend watching it in Spanish because it's sexier in Spanish. The English, I don't know, it just sounded a bit weird and dramatic. But overall, I would give it a 4 out of 5 because it was sick. It was a really good film. I love a bit of politics. And also, I feel like the UK and Hollywood they have like some sort of kind of political kind of films or political kind of shows. Like we had Black Mirror, we had, you know, Us and things like that. But I feel like a lot of it is very much superficial. They don't really go in depth, and they don't make like really strong points. Like with Parasite, they were very overt about the current government in Korea and in most of the Asian countries. It even spoke about like Japanese warships and things like that, and very controversial topics. Like it was very, very blatant. Whereas I feel like Hollywood and some British films, they kind of scratch the surface with it. They're like, ooh, we're going to give you a little bit of politics, but we're not going to completely do it. And then if they do, they label it as indie or independent films, and we're like, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to go and look for more foreign directors, foreign producers, and really like study that aspect of things, because I feel like that's the kind of films I want to create. I'm going to end this video here. So if you guys would like a video on Parasite, because I had the same energy about Parasite, it was such a good film, let me know, leave a comment or message me, whatever. But thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you know when I'll be back with my face. And thank you for watching, guys. See you later.
Oh wow, they be talking like the hella fly. Oh my, always making us some porky pies. All lies, I'm not messing with those other guys.